The camera is slanting. Slanting means it's fairly close, I suppose. Yes. Okay. Pretty close. Okay. Nice. Yeah. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radhe Radha Madhava, Radha. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Gaura Premanande, Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa, Pri Vrajagachaja Stotra Satya, Sri Simar, His Divine Grace, Sirabai Charan Narvanda Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Sri Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki, Iskon DBT, Founder Acharyas Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki, Samavata Bhakti Vrinda Ki, Harinam Sankirtan Ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki, Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru, to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Taksurunvaritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jita Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parichana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutiridet Vanamami Hari Priye Vansakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Dharam Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the Supremost Human Being, unto Mother Saraswati, the Goddess of Learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayesha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamritam Uttamaśloka Charitam Shakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasaya Namaha. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Surabhyaya Namaha. Om Surabhyaya Namaha. Om Surabhyaya Namaha. Mukam karoti vasaram Pangum langayate girim yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning Bhagavatam class, reading from Canto number 2, chapter number 1, entitled The First Step in God Realization. And today we are reading text number 29. Yesterday we read 2 actually. I believe it is 29. Yes. Indradayo bhava ahur usraha karnau dishaha srotram anusya shabdaha nasatya dastrao paramasya nase grano asya gandho mukam agnir idaham indradayo bhava ahur usraha karnao disha srotram amusya shabdaha na satya dasrao paramasya nase grano syagandho mukam agnir idaham indradayo bhava ahur usraha karnao disha shrotram amusya shabdaha na satya dasrao paramasya nase granosya gandho mukham agnir idha indradayo bhava ahurusraha karnao disha srotram amusya shabdaha na satyadasrao paramasya nase grano sagandho mukham agnir iddaha indradayo bhava ahurusraha na satyadarso paramasya dase Danu Syagandho Mukam Agnir Iddaha.
Indrayo Bahava Ahustrastra
Indradayo Bahavo Ahurusraha
Karnau Disha Srotra Mamusya Sabdaha
Karnao Disha Srotram Mamusya Shabdaha
Na Satya Dastro Paramasya Nase
Na Satyadaso Paramasya Nase
Ghano Shagandho Mukhamagniridha
Grano Syagandho Mukham Agniriddaha Indra Adaya demigods headed by the heavenly king Indra Bhava Bhava arms Ahuhu are called Usraha the demigods Karnau the ears Dishaha the four directions Srotram the sense of hearing Amushya of the Lord Shabdaha sound Nasatyadhasrau the demigods known as the Ashwini Kumaras, Paramasya, of the Supreme, Nase, nostrils, Granaha, the sense of smell, Asya, of him, Gandhaha, fragrance, Mukham, the mouth, Agnihi, fire, Iddaha, blazing. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. His arms, so this continues the description of the Virat Rupa as explained by Shukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. His arms are the demigods headed by Indra. The 10 directional sides are his ears, and physical sound is his sense of hearing. His nostrils are the 2 Ashwini Kumaras, and material fragrance is his sense of smell. His mouth is the blazing fire. Kind of repeat after me. His arms are the demigods, headed by Indra. The 10 directional sides are his ears, and the physical sound is his sense of hearing. His nostrils are the 2 Ashwini Kumaras, and material fragrance is his sense of smell. His mouth is the blazing fire. Purport. The description of the gigantic form of the personality of Godhead made in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is further explained here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The description in the Bhagavad Gita 11:30 runs as follows. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people in your blazing mouths and covering all the universe by your immeasurable rays. Scorching the worlds, you are manifest. End of quote. In that way, Srimad Bhagavatam is the postgraduate study for the student of the Bhagavad Gita. Both of them are the science of Krishna, the absolute truth, and so they are interdependent. The conception of the Virat Purusha, or the gigantic form of the Supreme Lord, is said to include all the dominating demigods as well as the dominated living beings. Even the minutest part of a living being is controlled by the empowered agency of the Lord. Since the demigods are included in the gigantic form of the Lord, worship of the Lord, whether in his gigantic material conception or in his eternal transcendental form as Lord Sri Krishna, also appeases the demigods and all the other parts and parcels, as much as watering the root of a tree distributes energy to all of the tree's other parts. Consequently, for a materialist also, worship of the universal gigantic form of the Lord leads one to the right path. one need not risk being misled by approaching many demigods for fulfillment of different desires. The real entity is the Lord himself, and all others are imaginary, for everything is included in him only. Actually, we read that yesterday. Yeah. So, yeah, just to recall again some of the important points made here in the purport. Srila Prabhupada is again referring to the description of the Virat Rupa described in the Bhagavad Gita on the request of Arjuna. We will recall the Lord was pleased to show his universal form. So Prabhupada makes a point in this respect that the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita and the teachings of the Bhagavatam both are actually an interdependent, we could say complementary science. The same science of Godhead, the same science of the Absolute Truth, whereas Bhagavad Gita is introducing us to basic concepts. That's why actually many people read the Bhagavatam without understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Many Mayavadis actually read Bhagavatam, but they are unable to properly understand the Bhagavatam because they have not properly understood the Bhagavad Gita. So before understanding, or our ability to understand the Srimad Bhagavatam is very much related to how well we understand the Bhagavad Gita. You see, if we, after reading the Bhagavad Gita, we don't come to the understanding or conclusion, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then we will not be able to understand the Srimad Bhagavatam. And important also for us to understand that these two transcendental literatures are actually the most important books of knowledge meant to be serving, or meant to serve rather as a guide to everyone, regardless of their belief, regardless of their position in the material world. They are the Prabhupada actually explained how these transcendental literatures, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam, is meant to be the to serve as the guiding light for the next 10,000 years. And it is for that reason that our Vaishnavacharyas have especially focused on the Srimad Bhagavatam, isn't it? All of our main Vaishnavacharyas have written commentaries on the Bhagavatam, and we are receiving the fruits of their commentaries by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. So this point is nicely made here, and also in the second portion of the purport, Srila Prabhupada is pointing out how it is not necessary to worship different demigods, but we can worship either directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or we can worship this material manifestation of that same Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes. For a materialist also, worship of the universal gigantic form of the Lord leads one to the right path. Whereas worship of demigods, people generally take up such worship for some material purpose or motivation. Yeah. So we're probably getting, we're close to the end of this chapter. Actually, there are 39 verses in this chapter. We'll go to the next text unless there's some comment or question on this. Yeah.
Explain that who concentrate on this universal form. They are more than the karmis and these people.
They are more
higher than they are more higher than the karmi, because at least they believe that the Lord has a form. Whereas Vipassana, they don't believe that there is a.
Yeah, those who worship or concentrate and worship the universal form of the Lord are higher than ordinary materialists. Yeah.
I'm asking question. They
Whether
above these two categories, karmi and jnani, because in impersonal form, the Mayavadi, they don't believe that there is a form of the Lord.
yes.
But at least the universal form who is concentrating like that, they are more about that. At least they are accepting that the Lord has a form.
Yeah, Gyanis are more elevated than karmis, especially Gyanis who come. Gyanis generally will come to the level of accepting something higher than matter, isn't it? Gross materialists, they are completely on the bodily platform. So higher are Gyanis, they are inquisitive and they come to the understanding that there is something higher than this body. If they're fortunate, they'll come to accept the spiritual realm. And of course, here it mentions that it speaks about materialists. Materialists, even if they don't accept the spiritual realm, if they meditate on this universal form, they are on the right path, in that one day they will come to realize that there's something beyond, because the whole cosmic manifestation, this whole what is referred to as the Virat Rupa, or universal form of the Lord, is beyond, leads one beyond the material level. Means initially one may be materialistic in nature and not believe in in the divine or may not believe in God, but by the more one observes and realizes how extraordinary, how wonderful is the material creation. This is what is being mentioned here. Meditating in this way will lead one to actually the transcendental level. And of course, although initially most people who come to the transcendental level, they are impersonalists. Majority, even today, for example, in whether it's here in India or outside of India, they are impersonalists, and it will only be, as we have discussed previously, it is only by the personal touch of a Vaishnava, by coming in contact with someone who has the understanding or realization of the absolute truth as a person, Bhagavan realization. Only by coming in contact with such an individual will an honest seeker come to that level or platform. Yeah. So the description continues here. Today we forgot to bring something. So text 30, it continues. Jao rakshini chakshur abhut patanga pakshmani vishnor ahani ubhecha tadbru vijrimbha paramessidisnyam aposyatalu rasa eva jiva. Translation: the sphere of outer space, the sphere of outer space constitutes his eye pits. And the eyeball is the sun as the power of seeing. The sun was on the chest, now it's in the eyeball. His eyelids are both the day and night. When the eyelids close, it is night, and when they are open, it is day. And in the movements, his eyelids are both the day and night, and in the movements of his eyebrows. And in the movement of his eyebrows, the Brahma and similar supreme personalities reside. His palate, tongue, is the director of water, Varuna, and the juice or essence of everything is his tongue. Purport. To common sense, the description in this verse appears to be somewhat contradictory. Because sometimes the sun has been described as the eyeball and sometimes as the outer space sphere. But there is no room for common sense in the injunctions of the Shastras.
Same question.
What common sense you? We must accept the description of the Shastras and concentrate more on the form of the Virat Rupa than on common sense. Common sense is always imperfect. But common sense is always imperfect, whereas the description in the Shastras is always perfect and complete. If there is any incongruity, it is due to our imperfection and not the Shastras. That is the method of approaching Vedic wisdom. That answers your question. Yeah, because just a few days ago, the sun was, yeah. What we may not be able to understand today, by the mercy of the Lord, we can understand tomorrow, or the next day, or whatever. Yeah. And yeah. Ata Sri Krishna Namadi na bhavet grayam indriyai sevan mukhe ijivado swayam evas puratyada. That verse is nicely explaining that we cannot see or properly understand things with our limited, imperfect material senses, with our limited, imperfect material mind, with our limited, imperfect material intelligence. We can only, or we should only, and can only understand and accept things through Shastra Chakshu. Shastra Chakshu, through the eyes of Shastra. This point is being made here. Yeah. One more. Yes. And text 31. Chandam sya nantasya shirogdinanti dam damstrayama snehak kala dvijani haso janonmada karichamaya duranta sargo yad apanga mukshaha. Translation, they say that the Vedic hymns are the cerebral passage of the Lord, and his jaws of teeth are Yama, god of death, who punishes the sinners. The art of affection is his set of teeth. This is very nice, eh? The art of affection is his set of teeth. Teeth. His set of teeth. And the most alluring energy, the most illusory material energy, guess what is, without looking at the purport, without turn it the other way. Turn it the other way. Yeah. Maybe you read it already. So we'll ask Venkata Bhatta Prabhu. This is an important question here. What is the most alluring, illusory, material energy of the Lord? His most alluring, illusory, material energy. Yeah, okay. Give him a chance. Ask in his local language. The Lord's most alluring, illusory, material energy is his, I'll tell you, is his smile. when Arjuna was confused and perplexed, isn't it? As described in the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Then at the beginning of the second chapter, it begins with the scene of Arjuna completely morose, completely having lost all of his strength, completely depressed, and telling Krishna, I will not fight. And what does Krishna do? He smiles. He smiles at him. The great ocean of material creation is but the casting of his glance over us. This great ocean of material creation, the whole cosmic manifestation, the whole creation, is but the casting of his glance over us. So those who are in knowledge, therefore, see the presence of the Lord everywhere, because it's Krishna's energy. Everything completely has been ordained, has been organized by his sweet will. And in the purport, Prabhupada explains, according to Vedic assertion, this material creation is a result of the Lord's casting a glance over the material energy. Yes. That's how the Lord also impregnates from the Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu actually impregnates the Mahatattva with the living entities. This material creation is a result of the Lord's casting a glance over the material energy, which is described herein as the most alluring, illusory energy. The conditioned souls who are allured by such materialism should know that the material temporary creation is simply an imitation of the reality, and that those who are captivated by such alluring glances of the Lord are put under the direction of the controller of sinners called Jamaraj. The Lord smiles affectionately, displaying his teeth. The intelligent person who can grasp these truths about the Lord becomes a soul fully surrendered unto him. So we'll have to be careful tomorrow, 32. Yeah, because we skipped a few here. Okay. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Sri Prabhupada ki.
Jai Bhakti Swami Maharaj ki Jai.
He's forgetting his job.